What's up, Canada? Great Northern Discussions just wrapped up another episode. We finished with Marty Belanger, a.k.a. Marty Up North. You might follow him on X, formerly known as Twitter. He's got a massive following there. Might be known as a political commentator or an influencer. Either way, he's super outspoken. Naturally, we talked about Alberta separation, and the hot topic of the day was really Canadian oil and gas. And with the incidents that happened in Venezuela, it's a hot topic. So I was excited being a drilling guy myself, and Marty being a longtime engineer from the energy sector. We had an excellent conversation, so make sure you tune in. It was phenomenal. As always, many thanks to our sponsors, Lone Star Directional and Modern Miracle Network. I just thought, hey, and oil and gas. I never get a chance to wear this shirt. I got it from Cody Battersill from Canada Action, and I thought, perfect day for it. I got a fellow peer from the energy sector.
Yeah, actually, I got about 3 or 4 of those. I should have worn one. Yeah, I should have worn one. Wasn't smart. But yeah.
He's an incredible guy.
Where is Cody? I haven't seen him in a while. He's probably focused on real estate more or less these days, or is he still?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's what he does, but he's a fucking wizard.
He was an amazing advocate for the oil and gas sector. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had him in here, and I mean, he's an encyclopedia. Yeah. Like he just, we know our stuff from experience, but he is a stats machine. And I mean, he's still pumping all that stuff out. If people want to look it up, Canada Action or I Love Oil and Gas.
I have the I Love Oil and Gas. I love SAGD. I love oil. I love pipelines. I have them all. Like, because I love it all, right? I mean, I'm an Albertan.
Yeah.
And we're 2 oil guys, right? I mean, it's and I think the very first thing you said, or maybe I said it, I mean, oil was amazingly good for me.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
you had a good life.
Well, I'm retired now. Yeah. And I retired pretty early.
You're pretty young. Yeah.
I'm 58. Yeah. And it wasn't voluntary. I mean, I retired. It was COVID. It's like most people, right? COVID had an impact on me. I couldn't work. I refused to get vaccinated. And the next thing you know, I can't work.
And you're out.
Yep. And I'm out. And I'm like, that's fine. I was basically tired at that point anyways, because for me, the last 5 or 6 years of my oil and gas career were a constant headbutting. Like I was a senior guy in some oil companies, and it was a constant headbutting. From 2015 until 2019, man, I was like, it was sadistic to be in the oil industry in this province because we were fighting Trudeau, we were fighting Notley, we were fighting everyone. So so when COVID came around, I was actually exhausted. So
you were done.
So I thought, I'll take a sabbatical.
Sure.
Next thing you know, the sabbatical
turned into good times.
Turned into a new career.
And you got your banana hammock on the beach, and
funny. You got to be careful. Yeah. Banana means something different to me. Maybe we'll get into that.
Because you mean like in your background, you mean?
Yeah. Banana is actually. People say Canada's a banana republic, and we'll go absolutely. And for me, banana is an acronym. Remember, we used to have the acronym called NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard.
NIMBY, yeah.
Banana is where we're at now. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
I haven't read that.
I think I made it up, that one. I might have, or somebody else close to me made it up. But yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
That's the state of our country.
Well, yeah, you got that right. It's pretty rough right now. And I guess on the topic of that and the topic of oil and gas, I figured that is like the easiest tap-in laydown for us to cover when we talk about Venezuela and Trump, ousting of the dictator. And now all of a sudden in Canada, the sentiment is shifting to we love our oil and gas again. Don't you find that funny?
There's... the elbows up community, I call them, or the lefties or the liberals. I mean, they're all doing these weird mental gymnastics now, trying to justify something. I mean, their whole narrative, their whole world is flipping on them, and watching them is hilarious. Like you mentioned, Maduro in Venezuela.
Yeah.
I mean, almost less than 2 months ago, everybody's like, or a year ago, everybody's screaming, Trump's a dictator, he should be removed. Then Trump goes and removes a dictator, and what are those people saying?
Right.
You shouldn't be removing dictators. I'm like, pick a lane, right? You know, 2 months, a year ago, well, not a year ago, 10 years, for the last 10 years, everybody's against oil, right? They're trying to shut us down constantly.
Yeah.
And now Trump invades, or doesn't invade. Trump simply replaces the head of state of Venezuela, which might give Venezuela a chance to finally kickstart its economy again.
Get it back. Yeah.
And now the East is like, you Albertans are screwed again because or we need to protect Alberta's oil because
Right.
Venezuela is now going to compete. I'm like, oh my God, pick a lane, and we don't need your help.
No, we don't.
No.
And we don't want it.
No.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. And on that topic,
Yeah.
because we like talking oil, and I know you like doing it on your show.
Yeah.
There's no immediate threat from Venezuelan oil.
No, there isn't.
Like, you know,
No.
I tell this to people all the time. Sure, they make a nice heavy crude, but the Venezuelan infrastructure over the last decade took a beating.
Yeah, it got decimated.
It got decimated. And then Trump, he says, oh, you know, he talks a good talk. He's like, Exxon will go back in there. Exxon got burned pretty good, right? I mean, they had all their assets frozen when there was a regime change. And big companies like Exxon are like, burned once. Not sure we want to do it again. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, I find it interesting too. You probably saw the clip of that panelist on CBC talking about I don't remember their names because I don't follow them. Follow on socials, but so she asked the question, why do you think Venezuela has done so poorly over the last 10 or whatever she said? And the guy answering the question said, well, that's just a classic case of overdependence on only oil. You know, you can't just depend on oil. And I wanted to throw the TV out the window.
Venezuela is kind of like Alberta. It is blessed with huge oil reserves. But they even have more resources than we have. They have gold. They have all sorts of minerals. They have jungle, so they have forest. They're not that far from huge markets, right? I mean, they got the U.S. just north and Brazil and all sorts of places, and they have tidewater. They have everything. Yeah. So no, I think Venezuela is pretty much a case study of what happens when socialists take over your country with bad ideology.
Well, and in that same clip, the guy tried to spin it like, this is what happens when you over depend on oil and gas, and then creeping dictatorship rolls in. I was like, what? It was the opposite. That they kept it in the ground.
I mean, to me, you know, they kept it in, like, you know, there's sort of like, if you look at the three big areas of the world that have a lot of oil, right? So let's pick three countries randomly, right?
Sure.
Let's pick Saudi Arabia, let's pick Venezuela, and let's pick Canada, right? Saudi Arabia has no internal expertise. They got a benevolent dictator, right? They got a sheikh. Yeah. But he's smart enough to know, I'm just going to hire the really smart guys around the world, bring him in. We're going to produce a ton of oil and spread the wealth. Yeah. That works. Then you got Venezuela, which is like, I got a ton of oil, a ton of resources. Yeah. I'm not going to call on any expertise. I'm going to have this weird socialist policy where I'm going to try and do everything on our own. And they failed at everything. Yeah. And then there's Canada, which had the perfect recipe. We have the oil. We have a ton of expertise, people wanting to do it. And we were doing it. And then suddenly we started going the way of Venezuela.
Well, it's still going that way, in my opinion, and I think I want to break down later, maybe if we get into Carney and this memorandum of understanding and his attacks on his belief and ideology on climate and et cetera. But I do want to get in your past because it excites me. You have a super extensive past in energy specifically, which is great. So we don't have to go through super detailed, but so where did you get your start? And then, maybe we can rip through a couple of those companies. I want to talk about one project in particular.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm trained as a chemical engineer, and I got my start working in Fox Creek, Alberta. Yeah. And, I graduated in 1989. And so we were still coming out of the recession caused by Trudeau Sr., right? By Pierre Trudeau. And there was not a lot of jobs. I mean, it was a tough time when I graduated. Yeah. And I was being interviewed just north of town here at the Crossfield plant. And I asked the guy it was a company called Amoco, and they were interviewing people They had the opportunity to hire about 8 of us. And I said to the interviewer, I'm like, is there a town where nobody wants to go? And the guy goes, yeah, Fox Creek. I'm like, so if I go to Fox Creek, do I get a job? I would have gone there anyways because I had already figured out through my co-op stages, studying and working and everything else, that you want to start your career as close to the wellhead as possible. So I was on I would have gone there anyways, but I asked, I'm a smart ass. And the guy's like, if you go to Fox Creek, you get a job right now. I'm like, done.
Fox Vegas.
Fox Vegas.
Yep.
And so started my career there, worked about 8 years in Fox Creek and just an on-site engineer, becoming super familiar with everything. I actually operated. Amoco made me operate for almost 16 months, which, you can't design stuff if you don't operate it.
Yeah.
Or know how to operate it.
Can you tell us, just for listeners, what were you operating?
I was operating... I was driving in the field, making sure that the pump jacks were pumping, that the gas wells were producing the gas. If a compressor went down, I'd turn on the compressor, water pumps, whatever, like all the infrastructure that keeps the oil and gas flowing. So that made me a pretty hands-on engineer, and then it also made me appreciate my fellow craftsmen, the millwrights and the instrument guys and the electricians that keep all this stuff really running after I design it, right? So then from there I just progressed through the ranks and moved on to different companies. So from, in quick succession from Amoco, Amoco got bought out by BP. I had no desire of working for BP, quit right away, ended up with Talisman Energy.
Good company.
A great Canadian company. I'd say some of my best work was done at Talisman. And then from Talisman, I went to a fantastic company called Prime West. Which was an oil and gas trust. We would just buy assets that were cast off by the big boys and just optimize them and generate cash flow.
Oh yeah, nice.
And
good business.
Oh, it was a great business. But we again, actually, this is an interesting story about this. The company was ruined by the government. I had many bosses over the years that always said, you know what, count on the government to screw it up, right?
Yep.
And the government that screwed it up for us was actually a conservative government. And I'll admit this all day long. I used to be apolitical. Yeah. Couldn't care less, right? And it was Jim Flaherty, the conservative minister at the time under Harper. He canceled he put an end to the trust model, and then he decimated us. So
that was the end.
That was the end. So then I ended up working for a company. Then we got bought out by TACA, a Middle East company. Stayed there for a while.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. Yeah. And then Laricina was a small private.
That's a good oil sands.
Yeah. And then I had a weird career path, man. But not weird. Like people say, you planned it. I'm like, I didn't plan it. I had one basic philosophy when it came to my world. It's, take on a challenge. Do 2-3 years in a role, learn somebody else's job, and then move on, right? And so, and then find mentors. Always find mentors, find people. So and that just allowed me to move about and climb the ranks. So yeah, from Laricina, I ended up at TransCanada, which was a weird leap. I mean, I don't want to go into huge details, but and then at TransCanada, I landed there when we were doing Keystone.
Yeah, you were there for Keystone at that time.
There for Keystone, yeah.
So that was. When did that get canceled? Which was Biden.
Well, I did Keystone.
Sorry,
Keystone XL got canceled. We did Keystone, right? So
Keystone.
The Keystone pipeline we did. That was 2010.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then and we were working on Keystone XL. We had the design for it. We almost got it built, like in small pieces.
Close,
close. And then Biden killed it.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, while we were doing Keystone XL, that's when I worked on Energy East, which was the really big, ambitious pipeline to go all the way to St. John, New Brunswick, right?
Well, over $1 billion in regulatory was spent before it was shut down.
Yeah, it was. And I think I was saying this to you before the show. Like those were the days where I was like, it was, what's the word? Not suicidal, but it was, you had to enjoy punishment and to want to work in the oil
hard time. Yeah, it was a really hard time.
It was sadomasochistic. Let's put it that way. Like he's like, meeting with the government to try. These are fantastic projects, and they're being blocked.
Yeah, they didn't want anything to do with it.
No.
Yeah.
Like and literally like a cheer in Quebec. Like when when we finally dropped the project, they cheered, man. They were happy.
Which is, yeah, it's super frustrating out here in the West to hear these people that, I mean, let's be honest, they keep their resources in the ground on purpose to obtain that, equalization payment of 13.9 or 6 or whatever it is. But the whole country could have benefited from that. It's just an easy decision.
Yeah, and earlier you were saying like how some panelists said that Venezuela bet all on one resource.
Yeah, they went all in,
which
on
is
it.
false, by the way, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And we hear that from Alberta all the time. I hear people say, "Oh, you Albertans are all in on oil." First of all, we're not. We're extremely diversified, which is why we're the only have province and everybody else is a have not.
Yeah.
But I used to hear that specifically from Quebecers, and I tell Quebecers, I'm like, You're giving me shit for being all in on oil, but you guys are all in on hydro. Like, think about it. Like you're not all in. You're being a hypocrite here. And by the way, I don't understand why you can't be all in on hydro and I can't be all in on oil, and we can work together and we all benefit. Like, I just don't understand this competition.
Well, when the messaging from above and media, and then it's politicians like Legault, more so Blanchette, who is a real peon. But when the messaging from them is not a chance, you're dirty oil and you don't have a culture. When that's the messaging,
Well, look at Blanchette. In the days after Carney announced the memorandum of understanding with Smith, Blanchette goes on the offensive. I mean, you're on the other side of the country, by the way, dude.
Yeah.
But he goes on the news and he starts saying, if Alberta builds a pipeline, I will start a public relations campaign from hell on the world stage, exposing Alberta for ruining the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, we're letting the planet burn.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Mind your own business.
Well, that's just been their stance
we're supposed
all
to be on the same team, by the way, too, right? Like, how convenient was it, in April last year, like, Team Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, elbows up, and then all of a sudden, Alberta gets something good, right? Pay attention to that. Like, I've paid attention to that. Every time somebody, like Carney, we didn't even get anything good, by the way, right? I mean,
it's an MOU. It's an MOU, and keep going, because you know what? I brought it up. Yeah, go ahead.
If you look at the list of projects that were announced in September and then the second list in October, there's 11 projects, and none are actually in Alberta.
No.
And then this MOU comes out, and the moment we have something that's remotely, Alberta gets a little gift, everybody gets upset. Like, we're not allowed to have nice things.
No, because we're just whiners at this stage. Yeah, I think they just hate us to hate us, I think. But I did pull up this MOU. I was reaching in a little. Have you read the actual? I mean, I know the bullet points, but I was looking. I mean, there's this one here when they talk about. As outlined in the budget, propose amendments to the Competition Act, which is, to remove some of the greenwashing, which I've talked about in here before. The greenwashing, that's Bill C-59. That is these oil companies can't brag about their environmental
They can't even have
accomplishments.
Yeah.
They can't discuss it. And so they all scrub their sites because they're like, wow.
They treat us like we're cigarette companies from 40 years ago, right?
Right.
That we're making false representations about oil. It's like, but it's beyond that. We just can't even say oil.
Can't say anything.
You can't say a logo like, "Hey, oil powers your life."
Yeah, oil is life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
We know that. Yeah. The greenwashing one was the one that really it triggered me a little bit, and then. Like we said, the MOU, it's just a memorandum. It's not really binding. But there was more here on carbon. Oh, yeah. Yeah, carbon. It's suspended the clean electricity regs in Alberta pending new carbon pricing agreement. And, of course, all this stuff has to be negotiated before April 26th.
And an MOU... I mean, for the listeners, let's just simplify it, right?
Yeah.
And if you and I get together and say, hey, you know what? We should start a pizza joint together.
Right.
Okay. So, and and we say a few very simple things, like you and I are going to start a pizza joint. We're going to build it probably in Shaganappi somewhere, and hopefully we, hire locals, whatever.
Yeah.
We just agreed. If we put that down on paper, it's a little memorandum of understanding. Oh, and we might say one other thing. We promise not to, you already have a burger joint and I already have something, and so we promise not to compete with each other on that side.
Yeah,
that's an understanding.
Yeah.
Beyond that, man,
No.
what's the pizza joint look like? What kind of pizzas you're going to sell? When are you going to open? What's the building going to look like? We have no idea.
It's not binding, and
Zero binding.
It was a bit of a win optically for Danielle because they got the emissions cap was big. Like I've spoken to a lot of peers in the industry. That was huge, but the industrial carbon tax is still there, which we know is a farce. But the what the hell was I going to say? Just the sorry. Optically, it looked like kind of a win for her because he caved on 5 to 6. No,
I agree.
points.
I completely agree. I mean, here's my take on it. I mean, the MOU caught us a little bit off guard, right? Because we were more expecting, like I personally was more looking forward to that big list of projects and see what's in the list of projects.
Yeah.
But anyways, my theory on this is that he had his own problems, right? Carney's got his own problems. I mean, he's basically been in power for a year, and the powers that put him in place have some requests from him. And after about 8 months, he's like, it's more messed up than I thought, right?
Sure.
I got a separatist movement here. I got blah, blah,
It's
right? The economy is really in trouble despite all our best efforts to say otherwise. He knows what's going on.
Yes. Yeah.
And she has her problems. She's on her way to an AGM, and she's got the teacher strike just behind her. And she's so
all the recalls.
The recalls. So somehow or other, I feels like they got together, but she sent an envoy, he sent an envoy. They drafted something together called this MOU to try and both throw each other a bone.
Ease some tensions.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. So when that MOU came out, me and my peers were looking at it going, whoa, who? But then based on the reactions afterwards, I'll take the win. I agree.
Sure.
I'll take the no cap on emissions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Let's get rid of that net zero power grid.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a win. Stephen Guilbeault is so pissed off that he quits. That's a huge win.
Well, we like that.
I'll take that as a win.
That guy.
Yeah. So in hindsight, I think she, even though it was a pretty bad deal, she got the better part of it.
There's some wins, but like embedded in there again is the what is it, Building Canada Act or C5?
C5.
C5. So that gives them essentially the power, the cabinet, the power to approve, but it also then gives the provinces the ability to veto. Like if all the provinces or however many, if all the provinces agree on, say, a pipeline, which it just took it out of their hands.
He watched him.
Pass the buck.
Absolutely. I mean, in afterwards, there's still too much veto power in the hands of, say, First Nations and I mean, EB. Well, we talked about Blanchette being pissed off and getting on the offensive, but the one who's really pissed off is EB, and he said, "I'll block it straight up." So, the MOU has no teeth. It talks about if something, we might look at changing C69, C47, whatever. It's like, no, man. Like,
just scrap it. They should have just scrapped it.
Right.
It's
and he needs to scrap those things. Let me step back.
Yeah.
The other problem with the MOU, and it's true, there's no company that wants to build a pipeline right now.
There isn't.
No. Because we scared, like I work for TransCanada. When I worked at TransCanada, Russ at the time said, like, he knew, Bill C-69 was hindering us. And he was at the point where, like, we can't afford to do this anymore. There's too much uncertainty, right? Like, we can't even come up with the ideas and progress them because it's suicidal. And so, and he's not alone. I worked in other projects afterwards. I mean, I worked for Paraday, where we tried to get money from international conglomerates, right? Big banks. I mean, I'm sitting there with bankers from Malaysia who say, "We love your project, but we're not lending you the
Too
money.
much uncertainty.
Too much uncertainty. And I'm like,
Regulatory uncertainty.
regulatory uncertainty, political uncertainty. Like he's
Everything.
basically telling me Canada is a third world country. And I'm like, where would you rather do business? He's like, he rhymes him off. You know, I'd rather go to South Africa. I'd rather go to Brazil. I'd rather go to China.
Yeah, because they'll just let you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we scared away, you know, the investors out of Canada, and they're not coming back anytime soon. Yeah. We're seeing it right now. Like the only way, the only way Stellantis comes back or somebody comes back to build a battery plant or a car plant is if we give them huge subsidies.
Yeah.
And even then they're like,
maybe not. Well,
Maybe
there's
not.
still the uncertainty is still there. And
Totally.
So when you were talking about Paraday, because this is one I wanted to get into, and tell me how much involvement you have, but it appears like you had a lot. But Goldboro LNG.
Yep.
So that was a big potential on the East Coast. I don't know how far. Why don't you tell us about that experience there? Because there's a lot of others that got canceled, but this was a big one.
Yeah. So I have some pretty intimate knowledge. I mean, I was the president of Goldboro.
Right.
So
So swing away.
So it was the idea came from a guy named Alfred Sorensen, who was or the founder of Paraday, and Alfred is pretty legendary in the LNG industry. I mean, he's the guy who did Kitimat fundamentally, right, and then sold it off to Chevron and others. But so, you know, that's his brainchild. And the real market for LNG, sure, there's a market in China, but there's a huge market in Holland, the Netherlands, and Germany. Right, Germany demolished its industry, and we'll get to that. Yeah. And where's the Europe getting its LNG right now? They can get it from Qatar or from the Gulf of Mexico, but their best supply is the Gulf of Mexico. But if you look at Goldboro, where it's located in Nova Scotia, it's 3 days sailing closer to Europe than the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, incredible. Like it's insane how close it is, right? Yeah. And so you're basically cutting your cost by 30%. And then if you look at Canada, there's basically a map. There's a way to get Alberta gas all the way to Goldboro. Right. And most people don't understand that. Sure, it dips into the U.S. a little bit, but it comes back up. So we had, and then there's an industrial complex there because Goldboro is where, in Canada built, offshore Goldboro, there's the Deep Panuke gas field, oil field, which Encana built, has a pipeline that comes to shore at Goldboro, and then that's the northern and main pipeline. So anyways, the infrastructure was almost all there. And we did, so we started, this is very important.
Yes.
We had a plan to build a facility that would liquefy 10 million metric tons of LNG per year. And we found a buyer. So we had a German utility company called Uniper that signed a 20-year contract for 5 million metric tons per year. It was a contract worth $35 billion.
Holy Christ. I didn't know that.
Very few people know that. So, and it was literally signed almost in secrecy. It's not secret. It's not a secret document, but it was signed without fanfare because the Germans, they didn't want to admit that their transition to green was a monumental failure, and they were dependent on the Russians. Yeah. So Germany, Uniper signs this contract with us, and then backing them, the government of Germany actually gives us a $4.5 billion loan guarantee. This is fantastic, right? Now, we had our own money, and with our own money, we completed the front-end engineering. And so we did the front-end engineering, and then I had a permit to export. I had a permit to construct. I had everything. And we played the game, right? Within the oil and gas, I mean, in some instances, the rules are complicated, but if the project is worthwhile, it's like, you know,
Sure. If I can tell it was.
I'll jump through a lot of hoops. I'll jump through a lot of hoops. That's all, right? Like, you can try and block me, and in some instances we'd say to the regulator, the only way you're going to block me is if you actually make this illegal. But if you just say, you know, I have to meet emission standards, I have to clean up the gas, I have to do this, I have to hire locals,
you're going to do it.
I'll do it.
Sure. Yeah.
So we jumped through the hoops, and we were doing Goldboro, and that just had everybody frustrated. But we got it. In the end, we couldn't build Goldboro because we couldn't raise
capital.
Couldn't raise the capital.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big project, and
again, due to uncertainty.
the Malaysian banks. I mean, we had Morgan Stanley as our financiers trying to put together the money, and they couldn't do it.
They couldn't.
No, nobody wanted to invest in Canada. Which by the way, like that's why I tell people, you know, we shot our sure you're an environmentalist and you don't want oil. So you sabotaged me and you scared away investors. But guess what you also did? You scared away investors who are going to build windmills. You scared away investors who will build solar power farms. You scared away investors that'll build housing, whatever you want, right? I mean,
yeah, they were all.
Man, we can go all over the place. You know who's the investor who's replacing all these guys nowadays?
Oh, BlackRock.
Brookfield.
Well, yeah,
sure.
Brookfield.
Right. You know what I mean? Like when you start to see it, like,
Brookfield's everywhere. They got their mitts on everything.
Goldboro was
that's too bad because can
I tell you a funny story about Goldboro? I'll tell you one quick funny story.
Yeah.
So we are pulling the plug. We are progressing. We're moving ahead. We're getting things done, right?
Yep.
And to buy time, we were buying assets. We bought Shell. We bought Shell Canada to buy time and get some cash flow, right? Mm-hmm. And to buy Shell, we kind of used that loan guarantee from the Germans. And the Germans are like, okay, that's cool, but could we get a letter from somebody in Canada backing these projects, right? Reasonable request.
Okay, yeah.
Reach out to Trudeau. Ain't going to happen.
Reach
out to his energy minister at the time is Amarjeet Sohi. Sohi doesn't even say anything. The premier of Nova Scotia deferred to somebody else. I'm like, come on, premier, like you're the guy.
And it's Nova Scotia.
But he's like, yeah, we'll get whatever. Patty, the energy minister, is like, I'll take it. You know who's the best letter I got?
Patty Hadu. Yeah.
Rachel Notley. Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because at the time she was kind of going all in on.
At the time, she had no choice, right?
She had no choice. Yeah.
But so I have the actual letter from Rachel Notley. I have it at home.
Come on.
I have it, and when you read the letter, I don't think she read it, right? Like, because I don't even think she fully supported it. But somebody, at least some deputy minister in her cabinet knew, hey, Rachel, like this is important, right? And he probably just slipped it across to her. But I mean, I always laughed at that when I thought, like, if she actually knew what she signed, she probably.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
You got it framed or you got it like on a dartboard.
Yeah, no.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to talk about that project because,
Crazy.
and it's another good example. Like people say things to me like, oh, like they'll reference the fact that Paraday tried to borrow money from AIMCO or whatever, right?
Yeah.
As an example, and they'll try to use that as a gotcha example of like, they didn't know what they were doing. It's like, no. You have no idea what it's like to jump through the hurdles that were put in front of us. Any oil company, and
always,
and you can't blame a company for trying to do absolutely everything,
whatever it takes,
because what the socialists don't understand is the time value of money, which is the other thing that's going to scare investors, right? Like if you and I have money to invest, but you don't get a return on your investment for at least 3 or 4 years in this country, I'm not gonna hold up my money like that.
Spend 2 years in regulatory, whatever you want to call it, purgatory, right? Yeah. I do have one question just about how are the people on the ground in Nova Scotia? Like, because I've gone on a podcast. I don't know if you follow the Elevate guys, Reg and Josh, and they really wanted me to go on to explain how energy is good and it's okay and how do we form up governments or committees and regulatory. But like, how are the people there?
The locals were amazing.
They were, because they're good people.
Oh, well, one of the things I had to do to get my permit to construct is I had to do, open houses for weeks and then get feedback, right? Yeah. And then show that due diligence to the regulator, the NRUSB or whatever they're called in Nova Scotia. Yeah. And so basically I got 300 letters of support.
You did?
Yeah, because locals would actually come to us. Remember, they and Encana did, or whoever the predecessor to Encana was, but Encana built Deep Panook there. And so, and drilled offshore. Yeah. And all the locals remembered how 20 years ago, everybody said, oh, Encana will be a disaster, blah, 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 blah. And now 20 years later, they're like, this was the best 20-year run we ever had. They were a great neighbor. It provided jobs, and we're so sad to see them go. And when we show up, and there were activists, and the activists aren't locals, right? The activists who came,
They're paid and
they're
brought
from
in.
Halifax or as far as Montreal, and the activists were basically told to pound sand and get the hell out of Goldboro or Antigonish, right?
Antigonish.
And
yeah. Good people there.
yeah, you know. So no, we had huge support, but and we had good support from some local governments.
Yeah.
But again, government is government. Like you see it at every level. I mean, even like one of the things I had to do there was we had to try and redirect a road. And I mean, to me, I'm looking at it going like, I'm trying to build a $10 billion facility. And because of that, I need to have a little inconvenience and I need to reroute, part of this little secondary highway.
Yeah.
My God. That took more of my resources than
everybody loses it.
You just go like, God, you're a civil servant working for the municipality of Guysborough.
Yeah.
And you literally are blocking me. You're blocking
just because
5,000 jobs right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the jobs. They could have used those jobs.
You're wasting our time, man.
Yeah.
And we'd do surveys, count the mice, count the oyster shells that you found. Like, I'm not joking, man. Like, it was like,
yeah.
You got to do an environment. You got to do an assessment, and wherever you're passing your new road, like make sure you don't go through an ancient indigenous campsite where they might have. And like, Lord help you if you find a pile of mussels,
yeah,
because that was their garbage can. I'm like, I know, that's their garbage dump. I just found their garbage dump. Yeah, well, we got to protect it.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, I did. I wanted to talk about that one because I saw it. I know that you had time. You probably hadn't had a chance to talk about that ever. And these are important. And so I went back and I had these just in my feed. And I don't know if you probably remember Ryan Williams, Bay of Quinte MP. He was ousted last election, but we kind of collaborated on some slides and things, and we were talking about the upwards of 670 billion in lost jobs,
projects,
lost projects or canceled. And if we rip through all these, which we've already touched on them. I want to talk about the referendum. Right away here.
And I just want to, just before we leave Goldboro altogether, right? So,
yes.
In September or in October, Carney announces whatever, the next 6 projects, right? And he did announce an LNG project.
He did.
And the one he picked got mocked by everybody. The left and the right said, why'd you pick that one? I mean, he probably picked the least advanced, hardest, most convoluted LNG project. But then when you dig down, you go, oh. Brookfield, Chinese, whatever.
Oh yeah. I said it in here too. I don't know how many months ago, but this, the Brookfield. Like we're actually my company is operating, and I have friends that work there because I don't want to slag the company itself, but they gave $300 million to Entropy, which is a carbon capture company. $300 million, like that. I mean, it's no wonder he's pushing all this carbon capture, which for everybody, for the layman, zero return.
Yep.
On carbon capture.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Well, so some of these other projects, I was going to zip through them. Like we had Enbridge. We know about Northern Gateway. That was Trudeau. We know about Keystone XL. This Musqueam Oil Sands, that's another Athabasca one. Again, that was regulatory uncertainty. Aspen Oil Sands, I think that was the Koch brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, just here in Alberta.
Koch Oil Sands, sorry.
Just in Alberta here, we used to run about $100 billion worth of projects a year.
Yeah.
Routinely, man. I'd go to the Association of Engineering. My association would have a luncheon once a year where we just go and hear from the energy minister what's going on, kind of thing, and you'd just be like, I'd lose sleep. Right. Back in those, like in the really, really good days of the oil patch, I'd be like, oh my God.
06?
Yeah, 06 to 2010. I was like, the boss would say like, we're going to do this. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm never going to see my family.
Those were good times.
They were good times, right?
It was great. It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Like there was too much going on.
Yeah.
I was selling, I got a story for you. I was selling drilling rigs. So I was with Akita, I don't know, I'll drop the name, whatever. Great company. Akita Drilling, which is an ATCO subsidiary, Ron Nancy Southern. Yep. We had 38 rigs. Every single rig was busy.
Maxed out.
They were maxed. But we had some other rigs, not listed off. And there was just so much work, it wasn't selling.
Yeah.
Right? It was just like, and a company had called. I'll never forget it. It's like, we need a rig. I don't care what you got. And I had to call ops, and they said, we have one literally growing a tree.
Yeah.
Which is a saying in the patch, but this one was literally in the yard for so many years. It had a tree through the middle. And we pulled it out, and he had a 6 month, he had 6 months of work. They signed a 2-year like days deal to hang on to that thing. Like, it was bonkers.
I have so many stories along those lines, but I'll just mention this one, right? So yeah, I lived in Fox Creek, right? And Fox Creek is officially Canada's centennial town because it was founded in 1967. So that's the logo in Fox Creek, right? So fast forward, 1995 would have been what? Was it 25 years or 30? Whatever. There's a 35. There's an anniversary of some sort. So what did we do in 1995? If you ever drove by Fox Creek, we installed a rig. We got a surplus rig. The town bought a surplus rig, and then we built a pad and a little museum, and we installed the rig just on the on the side of the highway, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The oil patch came and got that rig when it got like by 2000, when we're rocking and rolling, somebody's like, I know where there's a rig. Yeah, there's the ones in the tree where the trees are growing through them, but they came and got that rig.
It's a historical, like a museum landmark.
Yeah. Oh, I worked on when I was in Quebec, right? Which is, I mean, how much of a sucker for punishment am I, right?
Yeah.
I worked in Quebec on.
How long did you work over there?
3 years.
You did?
And, we drilled wells on Anticosti Island. Same thing. When people say, "Where's Anticosti Island?" That's an example. Actually, I'm glad. I'm glad we just.
Let's go there.
The government there did not want. This is back to the point, right? They didn't want me drilling there. They didn't want us drilling there.
How many wells were there?
We did 10.
You did 10 wells.
Yeah. And
that's gas out there?
Oil.
It was oil.
Yeah, the Macasty oil. So it's a nice oil play, beautiful oil.
What's the depth? What's the range?
Well, not very deep actually. We had a hard time because we couldn't get a slant rig. I had
right. There'd be no rigs out there.
No, I brought out the Precision 501
PD. They have some kicking around the Atlantic.
Sure,
on the East
but
Coast,
we had this really old rig. Anyways,
okay.
So I'm drilling these wells, and what we're doing there is we're taking advantage of their regulatory framework. So their regulatory framework is a mining framework, but it works for oil and gas, right? So I'm getting permits all the time, and I'm progressing, and they keep trying to throw roadblocks at me, right? Like, you can't use salt water. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll use fresh water, right?
Yeah.
I'm on an island. You can't use more than whatever, 10% of the river. That's fine. Oh, but you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, they keep
just
throwing,
kept throwing.
and I'm like, dude, you don't understand. We think there's 1 billion barrels of oil here. So if I have to use bottled water, I will bring in bottled water and I will frack this well. So they ended up expropriating us. Like, literally, the premier at the time, Philippe Couillard, took out a piece of paper and wrote, there will be no oil and gas exploration on Anticosti. And they tried this other...
You're kidding.
Yeah. So, and that's what I was saying earlier about, Goldboro. Like...
What a missed opportunity.
On some projects, they're so economic that we're gonna spend a lot of time. So in Quebec, they ended up doing that. They expropriated us. Man, I got so many funny stories. Let me tell you 2 funny stories about this one, right?
Yeah, we got all the time in the world.
Yeah. So I got the permit to frack. I got Hydrea coming from Edson to set up the C rings, and then the government tells me you can only fill them up with runoff during the spring or whatever, right? I'm like, okay, that's going to take a while, but we'll do it. And one of my guys has this brilliant idea. He's like, they made us drill these observation wells on the lease, right?
Yeah.
And Jean-Yves says, we can use one of the observation wells to fill the C ring. I'm like, interesting idea. We go to the government and we ask the guy, like, can I use an observation well to fill the C ring? And he's like, well, you'll have to test the well first. So we're sitting there going, okay.
Yeah.
How long? He's trying to block me. He's like, you'll have to test it for 30 days. I'm like, while I'm testing the well to see how much water it produces, what do I do with the water? He's like, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I'll get a permit to test the well.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Got a permit to test the well, dump the water in the C ring. Like, that's the silliness of some of these government
Yahoos,
right?
Oh my God.
And then let me just
crazy
finish. I mean, hopefully I'm not breaking any confidential stuff. I don't think I am. I think it's been long enough.
And you're retired now too. Yeah.
So we get expropriated by the government in Quebec. So now the government ends up owning all the wells. So they own 10 wells. Now all I've done to these wells is drill them, they're not completed really.
Haven't completed, yeah.
And they're in pretty good shape, right? But now they're no longer mine. And so and there's this
And the government owns them now.
government owns them. And there's
Crazy,
this long ongoing negotiation, and finally we agree on, I don't know, $21.6 million to buy the 10 wells. And and then it takes 90 days before we get paid. So, and in the 90 days to get paid, we're supposed to accumulate interest, right? And my chairman is pissed off. The board chairman, he's like, they owe us 21.9 million, right? They owe us 300,000 in interest.
Yeah.
And I told the chairman, I'm like, relax, relax,
just chill.
I'll get you better than that, because this is what happens. So the government owns the wells. Some poor schmuck at the Ministry of Natural Resources now becomes the custodian of these 10 wells.
Yeah, he owns them.
And he doesn't know what to do.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
So he calls me and he goes, Martin, he's like, qu'est-ce que je fais avec ces, what do I do with these wells? I'm like, Denis,
They're yours now.
I can help you, Denis. I can help you.
For a fee.
He's like, what, I can abandon them for you. He's like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And he's literally like, how much? I'm like, I don't know, $1 million a well, $10 million. Call it good. He's like, done.
No shit.
Done. It cost us barely $30,000 a well. All I had to do was go back on them.
Yeah.
They're not completed, man.
They're not completed.
They're not even perforated.
Yeah.
It's casing.
Yeah.
So cut it off, pump it full of cement, cut it off, put a package, but whatever. And they don't even have rules. They don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I'm telling them, like, this is the best practice. We should do this.
Right. Yeah. They've got no regulatory body or
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's always funny because you. On the one side, you can work your ass off against a civil servant, but on the other side, you also have some pretty lazy civil servants who will just like, do I need to bid this, Denise? Like, nah,
no, you're good. Yeah.
You're good. Just
swing away.
Send me an invoice.
That's amazing.
And my boss never gave me a bonus for that one.
He didn't?
No. No.
I can't
Myron,
believe
if you're listening, you owe me a bonus.
I can't believe you drilled 10 wells in Quebec. That's nuts. Like, how many wells?
Oh, we drilled more than 10.
That was just with that project.
That was just on Anticosti.
Anticosti. How many did you end up drilling out there? Because when's the last time because they don't drill? I remember Michael Binion was out there.
Me and Michael were colleagues, competitors, but colleagues. I mean, we were
Questair.
He was at Questair, and
yeah.
we were members of the at PGQ, the Association of Gas Producers of Quebec or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's still fighting out there. He got expropriated, but he's still fighting.
Yeah.
We drilled about 15 all told. Now, here's the story's not over. I've actually been involved with a small Alberta company. The government of Quebec has 910 wells on its hands right now. 74 need to be abandoned. Nobody talks about this. So
I didn't know it. I don't look out
because they
there.
expropriated so many producers that there's 74 wells that need to be abandoned. And about once a year, they just did it recently. They issue an RFQ or what's the list?
RFP.
Yeah, RFP. Anyways, it's on the 7th time that they've issued it. I've assisted an Alberta company in bidding the job. Both times we qualified. And both times they didn't award the contract
To anybody.
And then they just did it recently. The bids were due around Christmas, and I told the local guys this time, I'm like, don't bother. You're basically wasting your money, because I talked to other guys within the government, and I just found out, just before Christmas, the bid closed. You go on the government's website, and it shows that 3 companies were successful, and nobody got it.
And no one got it?
No.
Like, meaning no one's doing it. Like,
no, it just says, 3 companies qualified, but then the government reserves the right to
why don't they want to abandon them? I don't understand.
They're kicking the can down the road, basically.
Yeah.
And that's one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is I think they have weird rules. They kind of would like a Quebec company to do it. That's what I told.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, we're getting into some semantics, but I told the local guys, if you want, in the new year, right about now, I said, I'll try and set up a meeting with the Quebec government, see if
do
we
some
can
liaising.
convince them to do it the proper way, which is just hire some good old boys from Alberta, and we'll go.
Send them over there. Ship a rig, costs you $1 million in trucking or
God,
train
I mean,
you have a
now
million stories.
you're almost giving me PTSD, because I got funny stories and bad stories about
I bet.
Quebec. Like,
Well, I love it. We can sit in here all day. Well,
Yeah.
but just even as we were speaking of that, and again, we're going to get to this referendum stuff, but when I was thinking of French companies and East versus West, and then I don't know, you're probably on the inside of all this information too, but I don't know if you remember the abandonment time over COVID, and Trudeau gave us $1 billion. And then did you hear who was, I have firsthand knowledge who was handling the bid process in Alberta for those abandonments, who was awarding those contracts. It was SNC-Lavalin.
Yeah.
After they were shut down from doing work overseas because of the big scandal.
Which is I think one of the things that's going to happen with this abandonment work in Quebec, right? They can claim, hey, we bid it out, we got some interest, we qualified it, nobody's qualified, and then eventually they'll turn around and give it to SNC or Schlumberger or somebody from France or somebody like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a wild world. Yeah, we could have a good 4-hour, 6-hour yap on all the good energy stuff. But let's bring it to the possibility and the upcoming referendum, which is set to be due in October, potentially this year for a vote. Just started. Where were we at yesterday? And got some exciting news on that front.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the exciting news is the Alberta Prosperity Project's been doing a great job.
Yeah.
They had filed a question last year. Mm-hmm. They got the ball rolling on what's what's called the Citizens Initiative Act, right? So Danielle Smith passed an act called the Citizens Initiative, and a citizen can put forward initiate a petition to get a referendum. Mm-hmm. We got blocked by a civil servant, right? So the chief electoral officer decided upon himself that,
actually, no, I'm against this.
I'm against this, and I'm going to push this question to the courts. And then the courts, who are unelected and are also bureaucrats, started to lean towards saying the question was unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Danielle made a quick adjustment to the Citizens Initiative Act, which is funny, right? Like watching the NDP and other parties like do mental gymnastics trying to slam Danielle for doing that. It's like, no. She's the lawmaker.
Yeah. She can do that.
She's allowed to pass the law.
Yeah.
But the courts are ruling on it. It's like, if she passes a law and the courts say something is amiss, then she can adjust the law.
Amend or make a tweak.
Done. So she made an amendment, made a tweak, not without the courts first, rushing to put out that's problematic. I mean, I'm not happy that Justice Feasby said that the question was unconstitutional.
And they were playing some games in there, like jumping to intervener status already. I was listening.
But at the end of the day, Bill 14, was it 14?
14.
It was 14? Yeah, 14 passed. The question was resubmitted.
Yeah.
And now this time Elections Alberta approved, and now we're in the APP is in the process of registering canvassers to go and start collecting the signatures. Mm-hmm. And yesterday the APP had just a routine town hall in Little
where was that?
Water Valley. Small little town, not even a town, it's an incorporated settlement or whatever. Mm-hmm. I love going there.
That's like Sundre direction, right? Isn't it?
Actually, if you go north from Cochrane, heading towards Sundre, it's halfway between the two. You get to Cremona. And at Cremona, just before Cremona, you go west into the Rockies, and you'll hit Water Valley.
I'm just thinking of Water Valley Golf Course.
Yeah, and if you're if you're somebody listening right now and you're a biker, you got to go to Water Valley, right? The saloon in Water Valley and the whiskey, or the what's the whiskey place called? Whatever. There's two little restaurants. There'll be bikes parked there all summer long.
It's a hot spot.
It's a hot spot for it. Beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I was there last night because it's technically kind of in my backyard, and I just wanted to be there, and I like to support the APP. I've been to dozens of their events.
Yeah.
But then, beautiful gift, because the first canvasser approved to collect signatures was there.
Oh,
and
no
so
shit.
so
Yeah.
so Mitch does, Jeff Rath does his speech, and then Mitch does, and before Mitch goes on stage, the MC talks about, we're lucky tonight we have the canvasser there ready to start collecting signatures, and we would love for Jeff Rath to be the first person to sign.
Yeah.
So Jeff signs. I took pictures of Jeff, videos,
saw
all
it.
gorgeous.
Amazing.
But then and then there's like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about
Yeah,
it.
it's amazing.
There's 340 people at the meeting in a town of like 200, and we all got to sign. Right?
Everybody did. Yeah.
Anybody who wanted to stick around. I mean, it took a long time. There's only 2 canvassers there, so it's a little bit. The process of signing is very by the book.
I was going to ask that. Do they seal it after? And
No. It's but they instead of, if you and I write down, like if I write, my writing looks like a prescription from a doctor, right?
Yeah,
like,
mine
and
too.
most people don't even know how to write
Yeah, anything anymore.
anything
Cursive,
anymore.
Yeah.
So you give them your driver's license, and then they write down your address and your details or whatever. And then they check out, and then you acknowledge that you are legally 18, whatever, and then you check off a box, and then you sign with a witness, right? So it's very by the book that way. And then down the road, when the signatures are collected, what Elections Alberta does is they will take a handful of them, like say 1%, because I mean, if we collect 1 million signatures, that's a big test, right?
Sure.
They take a handful and they actually call the people, double check, do a bunch of things, and then some will fail. Let's say 10% fail, then they'll certify that 90% of the signatures are probably valid,
Legit. Yeah.
legit. So so personally, that was cool for me because
deal.
I signed. Brought my wife there and 3 of my adult children.
Awesome.
So
Hey,
5
everybody
of us
sign?
were the first 200 people that were in the first 200 people to sign.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you say to people? Like, what do you call it? Do you refer to yourself as a separatist? Some people like to say sovereigntists. I know that's kind of a more of a
Separatist is
because it got a negative connotation.
I
Maybe?
naturally go to separatist because
Yeah.
it's, it is the sort of the process of what we are doing. Independentist or whatever is a little too sovereignist. I don't like the concept of sovereignty.
staying within.
Even though it exists, I'm not. So I call myself a separatist.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there too. Took me some time. I mean, I've been thinking about this for the last 10, 15 years, and the conversation has bubbled up so many times over the years. And I think back to when Brad Wall and Brett Wilson and whoever, Grant Fagerheim and some of the guys, like their website's still up. I've talked about it a couple times.
Yeah.
The old Buffalo Project. That was for a fairer deal, but that was really when I started to get engaged in like all the, like, let's talk about the issues for people. Like what do you see as the biggest issues that that Alberta cannot overcome within Federation? I mean, it's a laundry list.
Just the
but-
foundational inequalities. I mean, like, one of my favorite memes, I created this meme and I share it on the internet all the time, right? I mean, if you draw just a little line, a little red line, sort of like below Ottawa, right? You look at Canada's huge geography, and you draw a little red line right that goes through Ottawa, Montreal, and everything below. Half of our country's population lives in that little triangle below the Great Lakes, right? And they vote and they decide what's good for all of us,
for everybody.
And so there's a built-in inequality in population. There's a built-in inequality that can't be addressed even with giving more seats to us, because there's 5 million of us. There's whatever,
however many are there.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then the systems that we had put in place that our founders had put in place, like the Senate and things like that, designed as checks and balance, they don't work.
They don't work. Well, we got 6, 6, and 6 out here.
Yeah. So there's this huge fundamental inequality in the whole way the country is set up. And and I've lived it personally. I mean, we just, like, I'm not talking out of experience. I'm talking from experience. I worked in Quebec. I worked in Newfoundland. There are very distinct geographic and cultural and political regions in this country. And it's kind of a miracle that it's lasted this long.
It is a miracle.
You know what I mean?
I think we are culturally, we're just different.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own culture. We're all proud of our cultures, and this is ours.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No, like, actually, Yeah, I mean, I have a French background, right? I grew up speaking French. I'm not from Quebec, just because I like to throw that out because I got a lot of people to call me, Frenchy and from Quebec or whatever. It's like, no, I'm my roots are in Northern Ontario, and I'm a Northern, Franco-Ontarian, not a Quebecer. I remember when I was younger, I would defend Quebec. Like, when I was living in Fox Creek and somebody forgive my French and beak off about Quebec, I'd be like, you know what? They are kind of different, right? They like ketchup chips. You guys we like salt and vinegar. They got, civil law. We have common law. They speak French. We're English. They're Catholic. We're Protestant. Then there's a few other subtle differences, right? Enough to be different. And then now as a mature person who's traveled the country and worked in this country, I'd say there's about 5 or 6 pretty distinct cultures in this country.
Oh, 100%. I'm similar. I've lived on the East Coast. I've lived in Sask, grew up in Ontario. And I say it to everybody, like when I moved west, first of all, I felt at home. Like when I went to Sask, I was like, these are my people.
Getting there.
Just good, hard, working, honest, tell you how they feel. But I would always get chirped about Ontario first, always, no matter what, and I would defend. I'm like, well, what's the problem? Like armpit of Ontario, and then I came to Alberta, and then it all started to make sense because it's their bubble. I'm not slagging Ontarians because actually they did turn some voting around there last time. There were a lot more seats gained. However, that's their culture. We're just different.
Yeah.
Just are.
Yeah, and then Ontarians, I pick on Ontarians a lot. I like picking on them, right?
Sure.
Because a lot of people come here, and then I always joke with them. I'm like, yeah, you're welcome here, but leave your big city ideas and other things behind, right? And people always go, oh yeah, we will. Yeah,
and they don't.
And it's funny how they don't.
No.
Like, like one of my hobbies is hiking, right? Or hunting. So I take him, gladly people reach out and say, can we go hiking? Yeah, I'll
show you some real shit.
I'll show you some stuff. And then it's weird how, within a day, somebody will be like, they really should pave this road. I go, there you go.
Yeah.
What? I'm like, that's a big city idea. Well, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Why would we want to pave
this?
this?
I don't need to pave this road.
No. Yeah.
And then
why ruin nature?
Yeah, there should be more signs on the trail. No, there shouldn't.
Absolutely not.
Walk your way through there, man. Like
it's called blazing a trail.
Yeah, there should be a locker at the end of the trail so that I can hang my my food.
Spa.
No. Yeah. So, yeah. So no, I call myself a separatist, and I'm pretty happy about what's going on right now.
Yeah. Well, the APP is they've done a phenomenal job. They really have done an incredible job, and I do encourage people to get out to town hall just at least to get educated and just listen.
Well, we're gonna have questions. We're gonna have a big one here, right?
Yeah,
I think it's on the 26th, like at the BMO Center.
At the BMO, and that's gonna be massive.
At first, I thought it was gonna be more like an independence rally, like the one we had in Edmonton in November. But this is actually technically a town hall.
Yeah.
But there's room for 6,000 people.
Oh, it'll be full.
Yeah.
There's not a chance it won't be. Did you speak up at that? Did you speak at that one, the one up in Edmonton? Did you speaking up there? Or
no, I speak. I get invited once in a while to introduce the speakers and say a few things like that. I spoke a little bit yesterday at the one in. I'm actually not even a member of the APP.
Right.
I do that on purpose. I'm not a journalist. I'm an influencer, Well, actually, I'm just a shit disturber is what I am.
Well, you've got like 130 or 50.
Sure, but
you've got a lot of thousand.
Yeah, but and when it comes to the APP in particular, it's under so much scrutiny and there's so many rules that I absolutely make sure that I'm purely a private citizen. And that can be proven over and over. Like, you
do that on purpose.
I do it on purpose. When I'm speaking, I'm a private citizen speaking because elections Alberta are very fussy about those kinds of things, right? We have colleagues who've been fined and and they get themselves in trouble and the party or the cause that they're supporting, right?
Yeah.
So it's the reason why people say, Marty, you should be a canvasser. Like, I'd love to, but I'm not going to be because I'll advertise. If Larry's setting up a canvas at his pizza joint, man, I will tell everybody, go to Larry's and sign the petition, but I'm not going to be the guy with the badge.
Yeah, got it. No, it makes sense.
Because it's the lines are too blurry.
Yeah, they are.
They're
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually, and you know what? I hadn't thought of that myself.
Yeah.
Because I offered, my voice or help or whatever. Like,
Yep.
I just want to help
Yep.
because I believe in it. I'm passionate about it, just like you are. But then I also joined because I was all excited.
Yeah.
Because I just want to side the thing and push the message. But yeah, that's a good point.
No, and I do the same thing with political parties, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I am the only political party that I'm officially a member of is the UCP.
UCP, yeah.
Because that's my citizen's right. I do have the right to be a member of a party, and that's disclosed, and people can verify that. But I don't belong to different parties because that could be a conflict of interest and all sorts of things. And I don't, and I love people who try and say you're paid by parties or whatever. It's like,
Oh, that's paid shill. That's always
so lame. Like so lame.
It's always the go-to.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have the only time I really get any like flack or people coming at me, like if I talk about emissions or energy and then it's like, well, yeah, you're from the energy sector, so why would we listen to you? And it's like, well, if you want to learn from an expert in their industry or some more than you, I mean, if I want to learn about the COVID jab, I mean, you might learn from.
Yeah, don't talk to a real estate agent if you're interested in learning about the real estate market, and don't talk to
if you want to learn about it, I mean, that's what you listen to.
Well, that and the other thing that's weird along those lines, I same thing. I get a lot of criticism because I'll pronounce myself on a lot of topics, and then people say, "Well, you're not an expert on it." I'm like, I'm not claiming to be an expert on it. I'm just I'm pretty educated, and I'm able to make sense of a lot of stuff.
And it's my opinion, and I've done my research.
Yeah. So if you don't want to listen to me because I'm not a doctor, that's fine. That's cool. But I think it's you're probably missing out.
Well, for the people who are all in on Mark Carney being the economist, they're also all in on him being a climate expert.
Yeah.
Right? Like they believe everything he says like it's the Bible. He's pushing the net zero everything.
He won't change his stripes on that.
Never.
He's on his way to Davos right now.
Yeah.
Or not right now, but he just announced he's going to China for a couple of days. I think January 12th to 17th, and then Davos after that.
Yeah.
That's
who he is at his core.
That's why the MOU doesn't.
Yeah, we know it's window washing.
Yeah,
for sure. So, what do you think about? How do you feel about this referendum? How do you feel about the support? Do you think we've got it? There's a lot of work to do until vote day, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I feel better than I did last year. Last year, at the core, what worries me is you want to win this referendum.
Yes.
So it's all about timing. So that's what worries me. You want, because you don't get 15 chances. Quebec did it twice, and then after that, the appetite is done. So
we get one.
Yeah, we probably get one. And I was worried that we were moving too fast last year, but now I'm like, nope, this is the time. This is the time. I think we can win. I think we can have a 51% majority say yes, they want to separate. And could we separate? That's a whole different ball game. There's negotiations afterwards. But I feel completely optimistic right now. The guys from the APP that I chat with, Mitch thinks that it's 30 or 40%. I've done my own analysis in all sorts of weird ways. Like for instance, at the AGM last year, or at the end of the year, we had an opportunity to elect members of the UCP board of directors, right? And so there was a vote for 9 positions. Half the positions were up, and every position was contested. Nobody was acclaimed. So it's like, wow, there's an awakening that's going on in Alberta in terms of politics.
Yeah.
And then we knew we had a list, and we said these of the 27 people fighting for the 9 spots, these ones are pro-independence, these ones are not. And when they were finally elected, it was 60-40. So we got 60% of the 6 out of the 9 were pro-independence. So I'm like, okay, so that's an analog, right? That's telling me there's 60% in that group. Then you look at things like the by-elections we had last year in Three Hills and the one in Edmonton and places like that. When you look at that and you go, okay, I put the appetite for independence at about 30 to 40 last year. Now I'm putting it a little bit higher.
A little higher, yeah.
And then when you look at what happened at Wexit, or not Brexit, the Brexit.
Brexit, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it flipped really quickly in the end, right?
It
so,
did. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, God, and then
When you're an optimist. Too,
well,
right?
I mean, no, I've learned to be pretty pragmatic. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing shit like this for not just, I'm pragmatic, right?
Yeah.
I don't jump in when my boss says we're building a pipeline out east. I go, oh God,
Yeah, okay.
like
Yeah.
optimism doesn't work,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, so I you made me lose.
You feel good.
Yeah, I feel good. Oh, I was talking about and look at the confluence of events, right? We got Carney right now. He's the best proponent for separation we've ever had.
It's true.
And he's had a year now, and his year to me was disastrous. And the elbows up crowd, they're waking up to that.
Well,
right?
they're regretting.
They're regretting it. I mean,
Of course.
The fact that we had 10 years of Trudeau, and somehow or other, they were ready to try something new. Their life sucks, right? By all measures, you're a Canadian.
Yeah.
Your life in 2025 is worse off than it was in 2014.
Yeah, and it's getting worse.
But then Trump shows up, and the Liberals played it brilliantly, and
did.
everybody set aside their temporary. Everybody who knew that life was more miserable looked at Carney as some sort of weird messiah.
Yeah. Well, they got played. They
got played.
They bought it hook, line, and sinker.
So for us, I mean, I was depressed the night he won, but then the next morning I'm like, whatever. Now we focus on.
Oh yeah, I think there were a lot of heads like us the next day going, "This is our shot." And I've noticed too. You probably get messages too. You get way more than I would, but you probably get. I notice a lot more people from like the east. Yeah, definitely not BC. Some BC, but main from the east, like saying they want to move here. They want to come. And
Ontarians.
And I'm like, you know what? You come before set up roots.
Yep.
Worry about because we're in the trench here.
Come before come help with the fight.
Yeah.
And also very pragmatically, I'm not going to be as welcoming afterwards. Because to me, then you're going to look as just an opportunist, and I don't like anybody who's simply opportunistic. Like come and help, appreciate the help, always do. But there's going to be an ugly optic if suddenly we became independent and all you guys they all show up the next day, right? No,
sure.
Show up now.
No,
we could definitely use the help now.
Yeah,
yeah,
we definitely could. Well, I'm with you. I'm way more optimistic about it now than I ever have been, and then especially just working downtown. I know you're not down there anymore, but everybody's talking about it.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Everybody's talking about it.
So it's around the water cooler. There's okay, good.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And so and now people want to get involved and
and the other thing, like I said, you got to like I keep saying we, but at the APP event, they always ask like who's here for the first time, right? And
there's lots. Yeah.
And there's lots. There's more and more every time, right? And so the events are getting bigger. They're attended. Like yesterday was another great example. Like people will try to I post pictures of it and people go like a lot of gray hairs there. I'm like you're actually you're not looking at it properly
or not very diverse.
Yeah, like I felt like taking yesterday's picture and circling everyone and going not a boomer, not a boomer, not a boomer, not a boomer.
Right.
Like forget it's
just what they do.
It's just what they do.
Yeah.
And so the crowd's a little more. For sure. Yesterday was a more gray hair. Let's be honest, more white or whatever. I'm like, you're in Water Valley.
Well, you're in Water Valley.
They were farmers. They were oil
towns.
Patch workers. Yeah. They're in a rural town. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I talked about this with Tanya too, because she had mentioned, that's kind of how that gen was how they got their information. They would do the town halls.
Yeah.
But there are younger people, like the one I went to in Cochrane. Last year there was lots of young people like in trades and just looking. They were hopeful.
Yeah.
That's why they were there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, town halls were a tradition in rural Alberta, but
that's what they did. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And same with the independence rally on the steps of the legislature in November, right? Like there was 10,000 people there. Right.
Yeah.
And the same thing. Everybody's like, oh, there's only 2,000 people. It's like, come on, man. Here's the drone footage. Like, do the math yourself, right? Like, freeze the frame and count across like that. And when you get to, if you count 50 bodies across that way and you count 50 that way, that's 2,500 people where I come from, right? And that's just this little corner. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to, just thinking about all the people that you talk to and the people that you reach, I was going to lead with this, but I actually forgot, Marty Up North, where was that born, and how are you enjoying being a voice on Twitter? You got a massive following on there. You cause a lot of shit on there. I quite enjoy it. But,
Marty Up North was just, I think it was my eBay name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Something like that, right? You know what I mean? And then, and my social media presence actually started, and the North comes from the fact that, I was living in Fox Creek, Grand Prairie, Edson, places like that. I mean, I did live up north for most of my career, right? It's only recently that I've been here in Calgary. So Marty Up North is kind of became a trademark.
Yep.
And then I actually have I'll plug it. I mean, I have a YouTube channel as well, which I don't keep going anymore, but it was dedicated to hiking, right? I kept politics out of my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So Marty Up North was the YouTuber, and then when I set up an X account during COVID,
you just went off.
Just like call myself Marty Up North, and then Twitter suited me. Like back in the good old days when we were only allowed 180 characters, it made me very concise in explaining things,
getting it out quicker,
shorter, and people liked that, right?
Yeah.
And then and then I grew organically, but then I had one viral moment. I had one tweet where, I basically got really fed up one day, and I kind of like was mad at Trudeau, and I'm like, it was after he'd made a comment about, anti-vaxxers are generally racist, misogynist, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And I felt like saying F you, right? And I'm like, I'm Marty. So my tweet was like, I'm Marty. I'm a hockey coach, an engineer, father, and
I'm a human.
And I'm a human. And according to you, I'm all these things.
It's discrimination.
And then I put that hashtag Trudeau must go.
Yeah.
Then went outside, cut my lawn, come back inside, and like, what the heck happened? Yeah, it's crazy.
Went off.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a great start. Well, you're doing great work. I'm happy you got in here today. I love talking. I'm probably going to see you out there pounding on for supporting the APP. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay, awesome. Buddy. Cheers.